The planet Thalna Fifth was quiet and peaceful. Its skies were always a soft shade of blue, and the trees gave off a calming light at night. The people who lived there, called the Thari, were gentle and kind. They had no weapons, no armies, and no history of war. Their colony city, Lunavel, stood like a shining pearl between green fields and glowing rivers, but peace never lasted forever. High above Thalna Fifth, a small moon station picked up something terrible, a fleet of pirate ships moving fast, coming straight for the colony. The pirates were known across the galaxy as the Grask Marauders. They destroyed and stole everything in their path. And now, they had found Thalna V. Panic spread quickly. The Thari leaders gathered in the council dome. Elder Thalorsa, an old Thari with bright eyes and slow steps, stood in front of a tall communication console. "We must send a distress call," he said calmly. "To the Zarek Union. They are our allies. They will come." Others agreed. The Thari had never faced violence before. They trusted their friends would protect them. A message was prepared in their old language and encoded with the Zarek emergency code. The signal was sent out into the stars, but space is vast, and signals do not always reach who they are meant for. Far across the galaxy, in a quiet corner forgotten by most star maps, a dark ship floated near the edge of a dead star. It was old, scarred, and shaped like a blade. The name on its side was faded but still readable: Nightmare's Mercy. Inside, the crew was human. Humans came from Earth, a planet known by some as a death world, a place where nature was wild, animals deadly, and the weather could kill you. The galaxy knew little about humans. They had arrived late to the stars, and most species stayed away from them. The few who had met them called them unpredictable, too aggressive, or even monsters. Captain Eva Cordain stood at the main console, sipping strong black coffee. She was tall, strong, and had a long scar down her jaw. Her eyes were sharp, always watching, always thinking. She had seen too many battles and lost too many friends. Suddenly, a soft beep echoed across the bridge. "Captain," said Chief Comms Officer Darnell, a quiet man with cybernetic eyes. "We picked up something strange. A distress call. Non-human. Old Zarak code, but it came through a side channel." Eva raised an eyebrow. "Zarak?" Darnell nodded. "Not meant for us. Might have bounced off a deep relay net." "Put it on," Eva said. The message played. A soft musical voice filled the room. "To any Zarak ships. We are under attack. No defense. Please help us. They are coming. The Grask." The message repeated. Then again. Silence fell. Another officer, Juno, frowned. "That's a colony world. Peaceful, no weapons. They'll be slaughtered." Eva said nothing at first. Then she walked to the center of the bridge and pressed a button. "All crew," she said, her voice cold and clear. "Prepare for course change. Set coordinates for signal origin. We're going to Thalna 5. Some crew members looked uneasy. Others looked excited. In the armory, Sergeant Kane, the ship's head of ground operations, started checking weapons. "Didn't think we'd see action this month," he muttered, smiling to himself. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Lyra, a short woman with grease-covered hands, cursed and shouted orders as the jump drives charged. Within minutes, Nightmare's Mercy jumped into hyperspace, fast, silent, and deadly. Back on Thalna Fi, the Thari waited. And waited. Hours passed, then a day. No reply. No ships. Nothing. Thalorsa stood on the balcony of the council dome and looked up at the stars. He felt fear, a feeling he had never known before. "Did they hear us?" asked Kessa, a young Thari engineer. She was brilliant, curious, and brave. She had always believed in peace and kindness. "I do not know," Thalorsa said softly. "I hope they did." Suddenly, alarms rang through the city. A ship had entered orbit. But it was not Zarak. "It's unknown," said a nervous comms officer. "Doesn't match any friendly code. It's big and dark." The Thari panicked. Many believed it was the pirates, soldiers, or monsters. Fear swept through Lunavel. Then a shuttle broke off from the strange ship and flew down to the planet. The shuttle landed outside the city walls. A group of Thari gathered to watch, scared, curious, unsure. The ramp opened. Out stepped humans. Captain Ava led the team, dressed in black armor with glowing red lines. Beside her were 6 more humans, each one tall, powerful, and carrying weapons. The Thari had never seen before. Gasps filled the air. "They're from Earth," someone whispered. "Deathworlders." "Are we under attack?" a Thari child asked. Eva stepped forward, holding out her hand. "We heard your call," she said, voice steady. "We're not Zarak, but we're here." No one moved. Then Kessa stepped forward. She looked at Ava's eyes, full of fire and pain. "Why would you come?" Kessa asked softly. "The message wasn't for you." Ava looked up at the sky. "Because no one else did," she said, "and we don't leave people to die." Later, inside the council chambers, Eva explained the situation. The pirates were coming soon, maybe within hours. The Thari had no weapons. No defenses strong enough. "We'll fight them," Eva said. "We've fought worse." Thalorsa looked at her. "Why risk your lives for strangers?" Eva didn't smile. She simply answered, "Because we know what it feels like to be alone." The Thari still didn't trust the humans, but they were out of options. Hours later, the sky above Thalnafir turned red. Pirate ships broke through the clouds. Fire rained down on the outer villages. The people screamed. The Thari were not ready, but the humans were. As the first pirate, dropships landed near Lunavel. Sergeant Kane and his team charged into battle. Energy rifles roared. Pirates screamed. The humans moved like shadows, fast, deadly, fearless. Kessa watched from a safe building as one human leapt over a broken wall, landed in front of 3 Grask pirates, and took them down in seconds. She had never seen anything like it. "They fight like animals," said a Thari next to her. "No," Kessa whispered. "They fight like they've already lost too much." In the sky, Nightmare's Mercy fired its main cannons, blasting pirate ships out of orbit. Ava commanded from the ground, giving orders through her helmet. Every word was calm, controlled. More humans landed. More pirates died. The Thari began to hope. As night fell, the battle continued. Fire lit the horizon. Smoke filled the air. Eva stood on top of a ruined tower, watching the enemy regroup. Her armor was scratched, her shoulder was bleeding. But her eyes burned brighter than ever. "They called for help," she said to herself. "They didn't know who would come, but we did." Behind her, Kane walked up. "Captain, scouts report a massive dreadnought entering the system." Eva turned. "How? Big?" "Too big," Kane said. Eva looked back at the stars. "Then we hit it first." The sun rose slowly over Lunavel, but the sky was not calm. Smoke from burning fields rose into the morning light. The air smelled of ash and fear. Small fires still burned at the edge of the city. The Thari people stood in silence, looking at the destruction. The Grask pirates had attacked during the night. They destroyed farms, took supplies, and captured anyone they could. But they had not reached the heart of Lunavel. The humans had stopped them. Inside the council dome, the Thari leaders gathered. They were still unsure what to think about the Deathworlders who had come to their aid. Elder Thalorsa sat at the front, his face tired. He looked at the human standing in the center of the hall, Captain Ava Cordain. Eva wore her black armor, scratched and dirty from battle. She didn't speak unless needed. She only watched and listened. Her presence alone was enough to quiet. the room. "You are not part of the Zerak Union," Thalorsa said softly. "Why did your ship respond to our call?" Eva looked at him for a moment. Then she answered, "We heard someone crying for help." That was enough. Another elder, Serene Vel, stepped forward. "You are Deathworlders. The galaxy fears your kind. We were told you were dangerous." "We are," Eva said. "To those who deserve it," the Thari whispered among themselves. Some were still afraid. Others had started to believe. After all, if the humans had not arrived, Lunavel might have been gone. Kessa, the young Thari engineer, stood in the corner of the chamber. She had watched the humans fight. She had seen them rescue wounded Thari, carry children to safety, and defend homes they didn't even know. She stepped forward now. "They fight like monsters," she said, "but not against us. I saw them save a whole family from burning rubble. One human even covered a child with his own body during an explosion." Eva said nothing. Her team looked at her, waiting. "We don't need trust," Eva finally said. "We just need you to survive." Outside the dome, more human dropships landed. Reinforcements, supplies, medical units. Drones buzzed through the air, scanning the sky for enemy ships. Sergeant Kane stood by a barricade near the city gate. He looked over the farmland, still smoking from the attack. "They hit soft," he said to his squad. "Testing our response. They'll be back." One of his soldiers, Torres, spit on the ground. "Let them come," Kane nodded. "But next time, they'll bring more." In the orbit above Thalna 5, the sky shifted. A massive shadow appeared near the edge of the planet's atmosphere. It was the Grask Dreadnought, a warship so large it blocked the sun for a moment. Its dark hull was covered with spikes, heavy, guns and hangar bays that opened like jaws. On the Nightmare's Mercy, alarms rang. Lights flashed across the command bridge. "Enemy dreadnought has arrived," said Officer Darnell. "Size class, Titan, 37 kilometers long. Eva's," voice came through the radio. "Is it alone?" "No. It's leading a second wave of Grask ships. Looks like a full fleet, 25 vessels plus fighters." Commander Juno, now in orbit, gave the order. "Begin defense protocol. Shield the colony. Prepare all anti-ship batteries." But the humans knew the truth. Even with their ships, powerful weapons, they could not hold off a full fleet forever. The Grask were serious this time. Back on the ground, Eva looked up at the sky. Even from the surface, the dreadnought could be seen, like a black mountain floating in space. The Thari began to panic again. "They're back! It's too big! We're doomed!" Eva turned to them. Her voice was calm but strong. "Everyone get underground. Bunkers. Safe rooms. My people will hold the line." Thalorsa placed a hand on her shoulder. "Why do you do this? This is not your war." Eva looked at him. "Because we're tired of watching people scream while no one listens." Then she turned and walked away. Kessa followed Eva down the city streets, watching as human soldiers set up barricades, placed mines, and prepared weapons. "Can I help?" Kessa asked. Eva stopped and looked at her. "You want to help?" Kessa nodded. "Then stay safe. You're smart. We'll need you later." "But I can—" Eva cut her off. "Live! That's how you help now." The attack came just before sunset. The Grask dropships rained from the sky like fire. Explosions hit the outer edge of Lunavel. Human anti-air guns roared to life. The battle had begun again. Kane and his squad fought in the northern fields. They used cover, traps, and raw power. Their bullets tore through pirate armor like paper. Grask. Fighters tried to land on rooftops, but were blown away by drone turrets. Still, there were too many enemies. In the council chambers, the Thari listened to the sounds of war outside. The walls shook, lights flickered, people cried. Kessa couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed a tool belt and ran out the back door. Outside, she saw a human soldier trapped under rubble. Blood poured from his side. He reached for his gun, but it was too far. Kessa ran to him without thinking. She grabbed the weapon and handed it to him. Then she used her tools to lift the rubble off his legs. The human looked at her, surprised. "You're not scared?" he asked. Kessa smiled, even though her hands shook. "Terrified. But I won't let you die." On the eastern wall, Ava fought hand to hand. Her armor was damaged, her gun empty. She picked up a pirate weapon and kept going. Her movements were brutal and fast. 2 Grask pirates rushed her from behind. She ducked, rolled, and stabbed one through the throat. The other she kicked off the wall. Blood covered her armor. Her breathing was hard, but she didn't stop. Then a voice came through her radio. "Captain, enemy mech approaching the southern gate." Eva looked to the south and saw it. A massive walker, 10 meters tall, armed with twin plasma cannons, stomped toward the city wall. Human turrets fired, but they barely scratched it. "Fall back," she shouted. "Trap it inside the city." Inside the bunkers, Kessa found an old control panel, the kind the humans hadn't touched. She connected her tools and began typing. If she could reroute the city's old fusion lines, she might power up a forgotten shield system. It was risky. The system was ancient, and it might explode. But if it worked, they could block the dreadnoughts. Next orbital strike. She tapped the comms link she'd stolen from the fallen human earlier. "This is Kessa," she said. "I'm going to try something." Ava's voice answered. "What are you doing?" "Giving you a shield." On the battlefield, the mech broke through the wall. It fired, burning a building to ash. Then suddenly, a loud hum filled the air. Blue glow surrounded the city. A shield dome activated, rising high into the sky. The mech fired again, but the blast bounced off the energy wall. Cheers erupted. Eva smiled. She did it. From orbit, the Grask dreadnought scanned the colony. Its commander, a brutal alien named Raktar, growled in anger. "They have a shield now?" he roared. "That world was supposed to be unarmed." He turned to his officers. "Bring in the heavy bombers, crush the humans." But the humans were ready. The Nightmare's Mercy launched fighter drones. They met the bombers in the upper atmosphere, where fire and steel danced across the stars. In the control room of the Mercy, Juno stood firm. "We won't let them touch the surface," she said. As night fell, the fighting slowed. The Grask retreated for the moment, regrouping for a final strike. Ava returned to the center of Lunavel, her armor burned, her arm wounded. Kessa met her there, eyes wide, face dirty with soot. "You did good," Ava said. "You too," Kessa replied. For a moment, they both looked up at the stars. Then Eva whispered, "They'll hit us harder next time." Kessa nodded. "Then I'll build stronger shields." Ava looked down at the young alien and smiled. "Welcome to the war." The next morning, the sky above Talna 5 was dark and cloudy. Smoke rose from ruined buildings. The fields outside Lunavel were full of craters, broken machines, and silent wreckage. But the colony still stood. Inside the city walls, the Thari. People worked with shaking hands, fixing homes and helping the wounded. Human medics moved through the streets, bandaging cuts and giving supplies. Everyone knew this was not over. Captain Ava Cordain stood on the balcony of a tall tower, looking out across the land. Her armor was dented and covered with dust. Her face was calm, but her mind was racing. Sergeant Kane walked up behind her. His leg was bandaged, but he was still standing tall. "They're regrouping," he said. "We hit them hard, but they've still got that dreadnought up there." Ava nodded. "And it's not just sitting there. They're scanning us, planning their final strike." "We can't stop a ship that big with ground weapons," Kane added. "You know that." "I know," Eva said. "So we take the fight to them." Kane blinked. "You're serious?" Eva looked at him. "I'm not waiting for them to fire on this city from orbit. We go up there and break them." In the Nightmare's Mercy above the planet, the crew was already preparing. Commander Juno stood in the command center, reviewing maps of the Grask dreadnought. The ship was huge, long as a city, wide as a mountain. It was full of fighters, troops, and weapons. Suicide, someone whispered. Juno turned. Then let's make sure we do it right. Back on the ground, young Thari engineer Kessa worked with human technicians. She wore a tool belt and had oil on her hands. She wasn't afraid anymore. She had helped once, and now she wanted to. Help again. She looked up at the sky. They'll come back. We have to stop them before they get the chance. A nearby human engineer grinned. You think you can hack a Grask ship? Kessa shrugged. I hacked your systems to turn the city, shields on. Didn't I? The engineer laughed. Fair point. Later that day, Eva gathered her team. Kane, Torres, Juno, and 6 more of the best humans on the ship. She also brought Kessa. They met in the war room of the Nightmare's Mercy. We board. The dreadnought, Eva said. We find the core. We blow it. Sounds simple, said Torres. What's the catch? Eva smirked. Thousands of angry pirates between us and the engine room. Juno added, We've got one shot. A stealth. Drop. If they spot us early, we're dead before we touch the ground. Kessa raised her hand. I can get you in. Everyone looked at her. The Grask use old tech. I've studied it before. I can write a ghost signal. Make them think it's debris or a power failure. Your drop pod won't show up on their sensors. Eva nodded slowly. You're coming with us. Kessa's eyes widened. What? I'm not a soldier. No, Eva said. You're the one who'll keep us invisible. We need you. That night, the drop pod launched from the Nightmare's Mercy. It was small, fast, and silent. Inside were 8 humans in black armor and 1 Thari in a pressure suit. The pod flew through the blackness of space. Kessa sat shaking in her seat, typing on a glowing pad. I've sent the signal. They think we're just junk floating by, she whispered. Eva sat beside her, checking her rifle. Good work. Now hold on tight. The pod hit the side of the dreadnought with a heavy clang. Magnetic locks held it in place. A hatch opened. Inside the enemy ship, red lights glowed. No alarms. No guards. Move, Eva ordered. The humans moved like shadows, silent, deadly. They knew how to kill, and they knew how to hide. Kessa followed, heart pounding, staying behind the big armored figures. They passed halls filled with Grask soldiers, who never saw them. They climbed through ducts, slid down cables, and avoided patrols. But luck never lasts forever. Near the engine level, a Grask drone spotted them. Contact! Kane shouted. Gunfire lit the hallway. The team moved fast, taking cover behind pipes and broken doors. Eva fired twice, dropping 2 guards. Torres launched a shock grenade. The hallway shook. More Grask soldiers came running. Alarms rang. Kessa ducked behind a control box, clutching her pad. I can shut the doors. Buy us time. Do it! Eva shouted. Kessa typed quickly. Sparks flew. Doors slammed shut. Gas leaked from the ceiling. Go! Kane yelled. Push forward! They reached the core chamber. It was massive, glowing blue, humming with energy. Eva stared at it. That's our target. She pulled a small black device from her belt. A bomb. Set for 15 minutes, she said. No turning back. Kessa moved to a terminal and plugged in. I can overload the cooling system too, make the explosion bigger. You sure? Eva asked. Kessa nodded. I'm sure. Just then, the room shook. Heavy footsteps. A door exploded. The Grask commander Raktar stepped in, wearing thick battle armor. You worms came to die, he growled. Kane raised his gun. He's huge! Eva didn't hesitate. She charged. The battle was fast and brutal. Raktar threw Torres across the room. Kane shot at his armor, but it barely scratched. Eva slammed into him with a blade, cutting wires and armor. Kessa screamed as sparks flew around her. The countdown showed 7 minutes left. Eva took a hit to the chest and fell back, coughing blood. Then Kane jumped on Raktar's back and stabbed him in the neck. The pirate screamed and fell. Silence. Everyone was bleeding. But they were alive. Eva looked at the countdown. Time to go. They ran. Through fire, through broken halls, past alarms and falling debris. Kessa tripped. Kane picked her up. Keep moving. They reached the escape pod. The door shut just as the countdown hit 0. The escape pod shot out into space. Behind them, the Grask dreadnought exploded. A fireball brighter than a star lit up the sky. From the surface of Thalna 5, the people of Lunavel looked up. They saw the explosion. They saw the fire rain down from the sky. Cheers rose across the city. The pirates were gone. Hours later, the pod landed back on the Nightmare's mercy. Medics rushed the team into care. Eva was weak but smiling. Kessa was covered in burns but alive. "You did it," Kessa whispered. "You saved everyone." Ava looked at her. "No, we did." The next day, a fleet of Zarek Union ships finally arrived. Too late. They expected to see a destroyed city. Instead, they saw a human warship in orbit and a standing colony. Zarek Admiral Velton sent a message. "Who are you?" he asked. Ava stood in front of the camera, bandaged but proud. Just someone who listened. The Zarek ships didn't come closer. They left quietly. Back on the surface, the Thari rebuilt their homes. Human engineers helped. Thari scientists shared their knowledge. Kessa worked side by side with the humans. She had changed. She was no longer afraid of Deathworlders. She respected them. In the stars above, the galaxy whispered. The humans had returned. Not as conquerors, but as protectors. They were monsters to some, heroes to others. But one thing was clear. Deathworlders don't run. The stars above Thalna Fae were peaceful again. No more enemy ships. No more fire raining from the sky. The Grask pirates were gone. Their massive dreadnought was destroyed. But peace never came without a price. Inside the human ship, nightmares, mercy. The hallways were quiet. Lights blinked slowly. Damage control teams moved through smoke-filled corridors. Engineers worked on broken systems. Some rooms still had burn marks and melted walls. In the medical bay, Captain Eva Cordain lay, on a bed, eyes half open. Her face was pale. Her side was wrapped in white bandages. Machines beeped softly beside her. Commander Juno stood nearby, watching over her. "She'll survive," said the medic. "But she needs time. Her body took too much damage." Juno nodded. She didn't look away from Ava. "She won't rest long," Juno said. "She never does." In another room, Kessa, the young Thari engineer, sat with a blanket over her shoulders. Her hands still shook. She had burns on her arms, and her voice was hoarse from smoke. Sergeant Kane walked in, limping slightly. "You all right?" he asked. Kessa looked up and nodded. "You saved the mission," Kane said. "We all would have died without you." Kessa gave a small smile. "I didn't feel brave. I was terrified the whole time." Kane chuckled. "That's what being brave means." Later that day, the Thari held a ceremony in the center of Lunavel. They had built a tall crystal tower where the human drop pod first landed. Around it were carvings of both Thari and human hands joined together. Elder Thalorsa spoke to the people. "Once we thought the galaxy would always protect us. We believed in peace, and we trusted in our allies." He paused, looking up at the stars. But it was not our allies who came. It was not the Zarek Union. It was strangers from a dangerous world. It was the humans, Deathworlders, who answered our call. The Thari clapped softly. Many still did not understand the humans, but they respected them now. Then Thalorsa turned to the crowd and said, "Let us never forget the cost of that help." Inside the Nightmare's mercy, Ava finally stood again. She walked through, the ship slowly, one hand on the wall for balance. Crew members nodded at her as she passed. "You should rest," said Juno, walking beside her. "I've rested enough," Eva said. They walked into the strategy room, a hologram map of the surrounding. Systems floated in the air. "We stopped one attack," Eva said. "But pirates talk. The Grask weren't the only ones listening." Juno frowned. "You think more are coming?" Eva nodded. "And not just pirates. The Zarek Union saw what we did here. They won't like that we stepped in where they failed." Kane entered the room. "We've been picking up strange signals. Other colonies are scared now. Some are asking for us." Eva looked at him. "And some want us gone, I bet." Kane nodded. "A few think humans are too dangerous to trust." Eva smiled bitterly. "They're not wrong." That night, Kessa stood on a hill overlooking the city. She watched human soldiers pack up their gear. Some were laughing. Others sat quietly, cleaning their weapons. Eva walked up and stood beside her. "You're healing fast," Eva said. Kessa looked down at her arms. "Still hurts, but I'm getting better." There was silence for a moment. "I want to go with you," Kessa said suddenly. Eva turned, surprised. "What?" "I want to learn more," Kessa said. "Not just about machines, about humans, about how you fight, about why you fight." Eva looked at her closely. "It's not easy out there. You'll see things you won't forget. You'll hear people call us monsters." "I've already heard that," Kessa said. "And I know it's not true." Eva nodded slowly. "All right. But if you come with us, you're one of us now." Kessa smiled. "I'm ready." But peace didn't last. 3 days later, a warning came from deep space. Another ship was coming, bigger than the last, but this one wasn't Grask. It was a Zarak war cruiser. Inside the Nightmare's Mercy, red lights flashed, drones activated. Shields powered up. Eva stood on the bridge with Juno and Kane. "They're not sending friendly signals," Juno said. "They're here to scare us," Eva replied. "Maybe worse." The Zarek ship hovered in orbit. Its guns were armed, but it didn't fire. A message came through. "Terran vessel, this is Admiral Velron of the Zarek Union. You are interfering in Union territory. Your presence is not authorized. Leave immediately." Eva didn't blink. She pressed the reply button. "This is Captain Eva Cordain of the Nightmare's Mercy. We responded to a distress call. You didn't." There was a long pause. Then the Zarek Admiral replied coldly, "You are a danger to peace. You bring war wherever you go. Leave before we remove you." Kessa, who stood nearby, whispered, "But we saved this planet." Eva nodded. "They don't care. We embarrass them." Kane growled. "Let them try something. I'd love to teach those cowards a lesson." Juno looked at Eva. "What now?" Eva thought for a moment. Then she said, "We're not here to fight more wars. Not today." She turned to the screen. "Admiral Velron, we will leave this system. But know this. Next time someone calls for help, we will answer again, whether you like it or not." Then she cut the signal. Back in Lunavel, the Thari gathered again to say goodbye. Children gave the humans small gifts, hand-carved stones and glowing flowers. Elder Thalorsa hugged Eva gently. "You came when no one else did," he said. "We will never forget." Eva smiled. "Take care of your people. Be ready next time. Don't wait for someone else to save you." Kessa stood beside the humans, now wearing a human flight suit with her own tool belt. "I'll send messages," she told her people. "I'll show them what the humans are really like." The Thari waved as the Nightmare's Mercy lifted into the sky. As the ship flew into deep space, Eva stood on the bridge, looking out the window. "Where to next?" Kane asked. Eva stared at the stars. "Wherever the next call comes from," she said. "We're not done." In a dark corner of the galaxy, Another signal blinked. A small colony under threat, another silent cry for help. This time, it didn't reach the Zarek Union. It went straight to the Nightmare's Mercy. The Nightmare's Mercy moved quietly through deep space. Its engines hummed low. Its hull still showed signs of battle. Burn marks, blast dents, and scars from the Grask dreadnought. But inside, the crew was ready. Captain Eva Cordain sat in the command chair on the bridge. Her eyes stared at the glowing screen in front of her. Another distress signal had come through. This one wasn't from the Thari. It wasn't even from a known world. It came from an outer rim colony no one had ever talked about, Vorn Station, a small mining outpost near a black dust nebula. Not even on most star maps. Mining colony, said Commander Juno, reading the report. Population, around 3,000. They sent a call for help 12 hours ago. Pirates again. Eva's jaw tightened. Zarak patrols passed near their space 5 days ago. They ignored it. Said it was outside their official jurisdiction. Juno frowned. And we're inside our jurisdiction? Eva smirked. No, but we're not afraid of a little trouble. In the ship's armory, Sergeant Kane checked his armor. Torres and the rest of the squad loaded weapons and prepared gear. The Batsi soldiers moved quickly. There was no panic, no fear. They had done this before. Do we know what kind of pirates we're dealing with? Kane asked over the comms. Not Grask, Juno replied from the bridge. These are called the Red Fangs. Smaller group, smarter. They take hostages. Kane's face darkened. Then we don't go easy. Meanwhile, Kessa sat in the ship's engineering bay. She had become part of the crew now. Her hands were covered in grease. A small human comms device was clipped to her belt. She smiled as she adjusted wires and checked drone signals. She wasn't afraid anymore. She had seen battle. She had helped destroy a dreadnought. She had stood beside Deathworlders and survived. Now she was one of them. Within a few hours, the Nightmare's Mercy arrived near Vorn Station. The colony looked weak. A few metal towers, a broken comms dish, one large mining dome, and a landing. But more troubling were the pirate ships floating in orbit. 3 small frigates and 1 medium cruiser. They've taken the station, said Juno. And they're guarding it. Eva stood. We hit hard and fast. No negotiations. The plan was simple. Drop a stealth team on the colony while the Mercy distracted the pirate ships. Eva led the ground team herself. Kane, Torres, and 4 others went with her. Kessa stayed in the command center to guide them and manage drones. You ready for this? Juno asked Kessa. Kessa nodded. I've got their comms open, listening in now. The drop pod launched. It hit the dusty ground of Vorn Station behind a pile of scrap metal. The team moved fast. Pirate guards were already nearby, but not ready. Kane fired the first shot. A pirate dropped before he could raise an alarm. Eva and Torres moved through the shadows, heading toward the main building where the hostages were held. Inside the control room, Kessa whispered through the comms. They've got 32 civilians locked in the mine, but the pirate leader, Koral Ven, he's in the command tower. He's threatening to collapse the shaft if anyone attacks. Eva gritted her teeth. Then we split. Kane, free the hostages. I'll take the tower. The team broke into 2 groups. Kane and 3 soldiers moved toward the mine shaft, taking out guards silently. Eva and Torres climbed the back of the command tower. Explosives in hand, blades drawn, the pirates didn't stand a chance. In orbit, the Nightmare's Mercy opened fire. Its railguns lit the dark space with bright blue flashes. One pirate ship exploded instantly, another was disabled. The final cruiser tried to fight back, but was no match. Juno kept the Mercy dancing between attacks, faster and smarter than anything the Red Fangs had seen before. Inside the cruiser, the pirates screamed. Who are these monsters? Humans! It's the Deathworlders! Retreat! Retreat! Too late. On the ground, Kane reached the mine shaft door. "Locked!" he growled. "Give me 10 seconds," Kessa said through the comms. "Overriding now." Lights blinked. The eye. Door hissed open. Civilians looked up in fear. Then amazement. Humans in black armor entered, not to kill, but to rescue. "You're safe now," Kane said. "Stay close. Move fast." Meanwhile, in the command tower, Eva and Torres reached the top floor. Coral Ven waited for them, holding a detonator. "Come any closer and I blow the shaft," he shouted. Eva held up her hands. "You're not blowing." "Anything," she said. "I will. I swear." "You might," Eva said calmly. "But I've already ordered the power cut to that detonator." The pirate blinked. Kessa's voice crackled in Eva's ear. "Done." Eva drew her sidearm and shot the detonator out of his hand. In the same breath, she moved forward and slammed Coral Ven to the floor. "Pirates don't make threats," she said coldly. "They die quietly." By the time the sun rose on Vorn Station, it was over. The pirates were dead or captured. The civilians were safe. The colony was standing, and in orbit, the Nightmare's mercy was untouched. The colonists came forward to thank the humans. One old miner, his hands shaking, looked at Eva. "No one ever comes for us," he said. "We've sent signals before. No one ever listens." Eva smiled. "We're listening now." Back on the ship, Kessa watched the stars with quiet pride. She knew what would happen next. Whispers would spread again. More planets would hear the name Nightmare's mercy. Some would be thankful. Others would be afraid. But no one would ignore them. Weeks passed. Then months. More calls came. More colonies saved. More pirates destroyed. The humans never asked for reward, never claimed territory. They came, fought, protected, and left, and the galaxy whispered louder than before. "The Deathworlders are watching. Be careful who you hurt." You never know who might be listening. On one planet, a child pointed to the sky and asked her mother, "Will the monsters come for us too?" Her mother smiled. "They're not monsters. They're guardians. They come when no one else will." In a quiet sector of space, the Zarak Union held a secret meeting. Admirals, politicians, and spies all sat around a glowing table. "These humans. They're gaining power through action," said one elder. "The people trust them." "They are out of control," said another. "We must stop them." "How?" a younger leader asked. "We ignored the cries." "They did not." There was silence. And finally, one voice spoke. "We feared them. Now, we need them." Far away on the Nightmare's mercy, Eva stood at the viewing window. Beside her, Kessa adjusted a new patch on her uniform. It showed the symbol of Earth, a blue planet wrapped in a steel ring. Eva looked at her and asked, "Still think you made the right choice?" Kessa smiled. "Yes. I just hope the galaxy understands what you are." Eva turned back to the stars. "They will, one way or another." And then, softly, she said, "The distress call was meant for allies, but we heard it first, and we'll keep answering until the galaxy stops crying."